Growing up online, it may be a threat to your child's mental well-being. Social media and smartphones seem to be inevitable when raising your kids, but do they have to be? Joining us now, Jonathan Haidt. He's a social psychologist and author of The Anxious Generation: How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness. Jonathan, it's great to have you. As a new mother myself, I have to say that your books and thoughts are prevalent at many of our dinner conversations. So it's great to have you and get some of your thoughts. There's been a latest pushback by school districts banning phones, forcing big tech companies to face lawsuits when it comes to social media addiction. Is that the right way we should be tackling this?
Well, yes. I mean, we need to work on it in our families and our schools, but we definitely need some help from Congress. Right now, 3 or 4 companies own our children's childhood. They take up most of their attention. They're sending them harmful stuff. We can't sue them. They do whatever they want. There's a really important bill in the House right now called COSA, the Kids Online Safety Act, that was passed by the Senate 91-3. In our divided country, this is one issue that we all care about because we all have kids. Is we can't just let these companies run roughshod over our kids. And so COSA will put in place some simple protections. And so I urge, it's being held up in the House. If you ever write to your congressman, I urge you to write them to say, please support COSA. Let's pass it by Christmas.
My only sort of pushback on there is there has to be some accountability with the parents. As a parent, do I need to do more to get off my phone at the dinner table? Because I am modeling behavior for children. Are parents doing enough?
Well, it certainly is true that most of us have bad habits because these things are so darn addictive.
Yeah.
We can't stop. How do we expect our kids to stop? But I think most parents are trying, and we're exhausted. Right now, if you're a parent, you can't keep your kid away from these things because if they can get to a web browser anywhere in the world, they can open secret accounts. Right now, parents can't deal with it. So we can't really blame this on the parents, even though, sure, there's a lot more we could be doing in our own homes. I would certainly urge all parents to have clear rules: no phones at the dinner table, no phones in the bedroom ever, screens out of the bedroom by 9:30 or 10 o'clock. So there's a lot we can do, but we really need some help from Congress to clean up the mess that it made when it basically gave these companies immunity to do whatever they want to our kids.
It does feel like an exhausting job, Jonathan. That's a great word for it. But I want to broaden it a little bit. You focus on smartphones and the risk that they play, but your story's bigger than that. You talk about the importance of recognizing that kids are not as fragile as we think they are, and maybe it's a good thing to put a little bit more risk, a little bit more freedom in their path. Talk about that.
Oh, exactly. You know, childhood until the 1990s, kids were out. You know, I grew up, there was a crime wave. There were drunk drivers, but we weren't so afraid. We all went out. We had a great time. We sometimes got hurt, but that's necessary to face risk. Kids need risk and thrills. That's why they skateboard down staircases. And we took all that away from them in the 1990s, early 2000s. We gave them computers and phones instead. We pushed out almost everything that's good and valuable and fun and exciting from childhood and replaced it with literally millions of 15-second videos, which is hurting them. It's blocking their development. Kids need to experience setbacks, exclusion, failure. They need this thousands or millions of times, and then they get stronger and they become a functioning adult. We block them from doing that.
Jonathan, I'm so glad that you brought that up. These kids that started on these devices, let's call it in the early 2000s. I have friends who have teenage kids today, and they literally say that they don't really know what's going on with their kid because their kid isn't communicating with the parents at home. So some of these habits have been ingrained as this has all been sort of developing and unfolding, and we're realizing the consequences of it. If you were a parent, you find that yourself in that situation, how do you reverse some of the damage that's been done?
Yeah. So what I'm finding in my students, I teach a course at New York University for freshmen and sophomores. And what I find is that most of them, the phone and social media, it kind of fills up every moment of their lives. And it blocks them from talking to others. It takes away from time talking to their parents. It really interferes. I call smartphones experience blockers and relationship blockers. And it damages the parent-child relationship. So I think parents can really do a lot if they structure the child's day so that there's a lot of the day doesn't have phones. We need to get phone-free schools. If your kids go to a school that allows phones in the pockets, please talk to the principal. Go phone-free. All of this gets easier also if you team up with other families. Each of us feels alone to say no, but if we work with the parents of our kids' friends, we can actually get some control over the situation and give our kids a healthier childhood.
Well, Jonathan Haidt, we really appreciate your comments here and sort of the actionable advice you can give us. I was joking that one of the latest posts that he had on Instagram was about how he doesn't see people walking around with casts anymore. Like, because we're not getting injured out physically.
casts.
We're all getting injured psychologically. So we need to get out and climb those trees and break a few bones. Jonathan Haidt, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Yeah, stupid things are kind of a feature for being a kid. Like doing stupid things is part of how you thrive as a kid, don't you think?
Totally.
Like King of the Hill, you know, pushing a guy off a hill.